if that thing that you call currency does not generate current, it is not currency. Does paper generate currency?
No.
Is paper currency?
No.
Any form of paper?
No.
A certificate?
No.
A debt note?
No.
A United States note? A Federal Reserve note?
No.
A stock? You know the papers that you get, say you're a stockholder? A bond? All these things, stocks, bonds, certificates, what else did I say? Anything that says note, anything that says this is an instrument, what else do we have? Reserve notes. I don't care what kind of note it is. If it's a U.S. note, Treasury note, Federal Reserve note, none of them are currency. What's very interesting is, and this is what we learned in our trade currency class, these Federal Reserve notes are transferable for something. The fact that they say Federal Reserve note tells you that they belong to and they are the property of anytime you see the word bank, there's a con game going on. Don't trust that word. I don't care what name precedes it or follows it. There's a con game going on whenever you see the word bank. You may as well just figure that you're being conned. We're not going to talk about how you're being conned tonight, and we talked about that in trade and currency class. Now, the Federal Reserve Bank is the owner of these Federal Reserve notes that you carry around and conduct trade with. Why is it that you're able to use them? Pull out a Federal Reserve note. We have to do this for all you people who have not had trade currency class. Pull out a $1 bill for those of you who have it. If you don't have one, share with us. Pull it out. Let's take a look at it. These things you have to see. You have to see it for yourself because we've covered this. For those of you who haven't had trade currency class, I have to show it to you so we can move forward. You understand what we're talking about. Everybody see that? See two signatures up there. We talked about this a little in our Who's Who class. You see the two signatures on the front. Down at the bottom. You see Mary Ellen Withrow, right? And you see Ron Rubin, right? Who is it? Lauren Summers? Somebody has Summers? Yeah. You have Summers? That must be a new bill because he's just appointed last year when Rubin resigned. It's a new one. It's a new one. Okay. So now, look on the back. You see two seals on the back? Yeah. So what do you have in that document? A contract. That document is a contract. It's signed and sealed. It's a contract. It's signed and sealed. Got it? Yeah. Two seals up there. Huh? What two seals do you see on that document?
Moor seal.
You have the U.S. and the USA. But the U.S. is signing for somebody. They're representing, they're sitting in the seat for somebody which gives them the authority to sign that contract. You already know the answer. I heard somebody say it. The Moors. Okay? So this is a lawful contract that they have with the USA. Like that. And their contract is signed and sealed. It's valid. So for any of those organizations out there that are telling you the debt notes and these Federal Reserve notes are worthless and this and that and whatever, don't listen to them. This is a valid contract for the world to see. Now, on the front, you got your 2 signatures. Mary Ellen Withrow signed for who? Yes, she did. She's the United States. Mary Ellen Withrow is the treasurer of the United States. She is elected. She's not appointed. She is elected, and she signed that contract for the United States. Ron Rubin, or Lawrence Summers, because you have him, he was, you know, Ron Rubin resigned. Lawrence Summers is the new Secretary of the Treasury. The Treasury of the United States of America. Whereas Mary Ellen Withrow was elected by you at the Democratic National Convention, okay? And she's signing for the Moors. As treasurer of the United States, they are 2 separate and distinct things. 2 separate and distinct entities, 2 separate and distinct offices. Well, one is an office and one is a department, actually. This is a department. Lawrence Summers and Ron Rubin signed for the Treasury Department over here. Y'all see that? You have to. Anybody have any questions about that? Because y'all have to be clear about that before we can move on, all right? So, what happens when you use a Federal Reserve note? Most people have been in the habit of taking Federal Reserve notes to your average everyday Joe Blow bank. Commerce, Mellon, PNC, First Union, Sovereign. And we see Core States is gone. We don't have them anymore. Whatever bank you name, first of all, they're conning you. But the banks are in the business because you don't know any better. So they're the middleman. And they're in the middle of doing what? They're not making any money. Well, no, they're not really stealing. Well, we're going to get into the next question, what is money, and then you'll see why that's not true. They're not, no bank other than the Federal Reserve Bank deals in currency. Not one. Not one. They trade in these things right here. Paper. They are paper traders. They are paper traders. They're in the business of trading and exchanging paper. That's all they do. Promissory notes and debt notes. That's what they're in the business to do. Don't ever be misled about who they are. Banks. All banks. Now, the Federal Reserve Bank is a little bit different because it's chartered by the United States, by Congress. Chartered by Congress. So now, if you want to exchange a Federal Reserve note for another Federal Reserve note, you can go to your average Joe Blow bank, right? But if you want to exchange a Federal Reserve note for currency, they can't do that. They can't help you. They're not in the business to do that. They'll tell you, well, we can't do that, but you ask them, well, where do I go? They're not going to be able to tell you. You know, don't know? They know. The average teller doesn't know. I would say your tellers know. Even your branch managers don't know. But banking executives know. The ones who sit upstairs, you never see them downstairs and talk to them.
But I read that they make the money.
Who makes money? Does anybody have the Constitution in here? Does anybody have a law? Could you look in the back of the law dictionary? And I forgot which section it is. It talks about, I want to say Article 4, is it that talks about coining money? Find the one that talks about coining money so we can answer your question. The Federal Reserve Bank does not make money. They don't, no. They can print paper. They can print paper. They're good at that. Yeah. Huh? Who makes money?
Oh, when I said money, I was
okay, let's say who makes the money? Who creates that thing that we call money? That we call the mint. Right, the U.S. Mint, but not them. The United States Mint is in the business of coining money. Why under 6, where it talks about contracts and all that, and the states cannot coin money. Okay, well, while you're looking for that, I'll move on. All right. If it's not a coin, it's not currency. Okay? Now, what causes the currency? Why do you even call it currency?
Because it moves from place to place.
It moves, yes.
The energy.
The energy?
It conducts electricity.
It actually conducts current. Why? Because we are chemical, electrical, magnetic, spiritual beings, divine beings, right? So we have in us electricity. And every chemical and element there is on the planet is in us also. So we are chemical, electrical, magnetic. This is all this defines us. Well, I'll say that, but we're spiritual and divine beings. But let's say that. So we're dealing with these terms right here when we talk about currency. For those of you who've had the woman class, you know about our vibratory rate and all that, okay? So now, let's take it here. We're this. So inherent in us is this. And from the woman class, you know that DNA is the master recorder. It records everything, and it never forgets. Every thought, every word, everything you've ever seen, everything you've ever heard, everything you've ever felt, everything you've ever touched is recorded in your DNA. So when these people, we'll call them Albions, wanted to take control of our land and our system, the most important thing they had to do was remove the current from the currency. They had to remove currency. Okay? And this is how they solidified their hold on our country and our government and our whole structure of our land and everything that we've done. They removed the currency. And they simply did that. I don't know what I want to write down and write up a little. Let's say we do this. March 6, 1933. It was coming to a head even from the days of Lincoln because the state banks printed state notes. We talked about this in trade currency class, right? They printed state notes. And the state notes were for the state banks. And what would happen is, it was a debt note. And what would happen is the people would take their gold and silver, their currency, into the bank, into a vault. And then the bank would count the currency and give them debt notes that they could give to people and trade with so they wouldn't have to carry the currency around. Well, they said so. It was so heavy. However, you found it? Let me just finish this point, then we're going to read that. However, the purpose of the debt note was for, let's say, you give me a debt note, right? But you have that money in the bank. So at any point, the debt note you give me is a promissory note that says at some point in time, whenever I choose, I can take my promissory note to her bank and cash it in for the currency, for the lawful money. But in the meantime, what was happening was the banks were stealing the money. They were setting up Jesse James and the boys to rob trains and steal the currency. So it got to the point where when I tried to go in to exchange my promissory note for the lawful money, it wasn't there. The banks were stealing it. So it got so bad, and this is why they killed Lincoln, because Lincoln wanted to stop this process, and he tried to implement what was called greenbacks, which was the federal system instead of the state system, so that the federal government could take control of the debt note system and have the faith, that the people would have the faith that their promissory notes would be honored. Okay? So, by the time Roosevelt got to be president, it had gotten so bad that he had to call for a bank holiday of 3 Masonic days. 3 Masonic days. He called out the military to every bank in the country. Can you imagine? That's what they did, and they called all the military out to the banks. Go and look it up, to the banks, and on this day, they closed all the banks, from the 6th to the 9th. All right? And what did they do? First of all, they had to sneak them. They had to take them by surprise, because because Lincoln was trying to plan it, and you see what happened to him. So they had to keep it quiet. They had to take them by surprise. All of a sudden, one day, all these military troops converged on all the banks in the country and shut them down and put all the bank executives out of the buildings. So what did they do? They seized all the state notes, and they took all the gold and silver out of the vaults. Because the people had gotten to the point where the people had forgotten that this system that I just explained to you, that you're supposed to be able to go back to the bank and turn the debt note in to get the money. We had gotten so accustomed to just trading in paper, we started calling it paper money. And that's what happened, okay? So they seized all of the state notes so the state could no longer issue state debt notes, state bank promissory notes, okay? They instituted a system of federal banks, because you know all banks are not state chartered. There are some federally chartered banks, okay? To stabilize the whole system. And that's when they put in I have to write them in blue because I'm not red. That's when they instilled the Federal Reserve Bank. Initially, it wasn't even called a bank, and it was based upon the Federal Reserve Act. Okay? Now you see why they had to do that? They had to do that because the people's money was already stolen. The vast, vast majority of it, the bankers had stolen. Okay? And this is why then Roosevelt had to make an announcement to the public that they were replacing the state notes with the Federal Reserve. At the time, they were called United States notes. This is what they first replaced them with. United States notes. See, I wrote that in red? And the United States notes were gold and silver certificates. Okay? Now, and there are a few of these, people still have a few of these, they're lingering around here and there. And you can tell them because they have red numbers on them. We have some. If you ever run across them, you better keep them. Okay? They have red letters on them, red numbers and letters. Huh?
How would you all feel like that?
Okay, well, it's a United States note. It's not a Federal Reserve note. Federal Reserve note writing is in green. This writing is in, it's in red. Okay? Now, everybody understands this. Do you have any questions about this? Now, when they removed the current from the currency, what happened was this. Because we are chemical and electrical magnetic beings, and all of this I taught in trade and currency class, when we trade in coins, what are our coins made of? We got gold, silver, copper, nickel. See that? All conductors of electricity. So when you trade in this medium right here, you're closing a circuit between one chemical and electrical magnetic being and another. And because this conducts, especially gold and silver, or copper too, they're all good conductors of electricity. When you trade with these, you exchange DNA recording information. That's the power of that. You remember things. You keep it in contact with everybody you trade with. You understand that? Because it remembers. So, with that in mind, you're able to know your ancestry. You're able to know things without ever writing them down because the information is transferred this way. And you just know it automatically. Nobody has to tell it to you. You don't have to read it in a book. You understand? It's done this way. So when they want, and everybody asks me, well, how did we lose our empire? This is how we lost it. Because we are dependent upon currency. When they wanted to further demoralize our ability to deal with currency, they started pushing hair care products that changed the texture of our hair. We talked about that in woman class. All right? When you change the texture of your hair, you damage your antennas. You damage your connectedness, your vehicle to be able to talk to the astral plane. You haven't had woman class, right?
But I
You understand what I'm saying? Okay? Okay, wait till you see the woman in the woman class. All right? So when they did this to the women, you know, all of a sudden they started teaching about Ida.
Be well.
And Madam C.J. Walker. Right? All of a sudden she comes out of nowhere, right? We didn't learn about her when I was in elementary school. I had never heard of her.
First black millionaire.
The first black millionaire from what? Straightening company. To change the texture of our hair. So all of a sudden all these women, oh yeah, we need to straighten our hair. Get rid of our natural hair, our natural antennas. So that's what happened there. So we had the currency removed. So it was easy to forget. Understand, in the meantime, they're still trading with this. They're still trading with this at their level. You're not. But because these Federal Reserve notes belong to the Federal Reserve Bank, what does that tell you? You can trade in your Federal Reserve notes and get currency. Huh? Yes, you can. You can go right over there. In fact, though, you know, because I should have brought the article. In fact, the article was sitting right on top of the file cabinet today. It was about the Treasury. And then there's another article. They closed their walk-in service, so you can't walk into the Federal Reserve Bank anymore. Did y'all know that? Yeah, they just did it. You said in September, they just did it. And they said they closed their offices because they had like 10 customers a day around. Did you read the article? Oh, okay. And they said they had like less than an average of 10 customers a day coming into the Federal Reserve banks around the country. And the majority of them were senior citizens. Why? They remember. They know. They don't talk about it, but they know that they can take their Federal Reserve notes to the Federal Reserve Bank and trade them in for currency. Now you know. And it's got, huh? You can't walk in anymore. Before September. Yes, before September you just, and it's gotten so bad that even now, well, you can do it through the mail, you can do it over the internet and stuff like that. You can send in even a money order, right, and get back currency, whatever the value of gold is for the day or whatever. Okay, but I forgot what I was going to say. The whole purpose of setting it up this way was to give the people a venue to be able to deal lawfully. But the Federal Reserve Bank doesn't advertise their services. You're supposed to just know. And if you don't know, tough. The local banks deal with the Federal Reserve Bank. You know, every time you write a check, do you know the system? Anybody here work in the bank? Okay, when you write a check, and this is why you get in trouble when you bounce a check. This is why you can get in so much trouble. Here's the system. Y'all see that? Now, this is you. And this is the Federal Reserve. And this is your bank. Well, let's say you're receiving a check, and somebody else may be in here. Anyway, you write a check, you write the check, it goes to the person you wrote it to, they put it in the bank, right? Now, their bank sends it to the Federal Reserve because the United States government does not trust banks. They will not allow, they don't trust them. They will not allow, the way it used to work before March 6, 1933, you would give it to them, they take it to their bank would send it to your bank, and then your bank would withdraw the money from your account. You got that? But they began to be so corrupt, the federal government stepped in and said, we're not letting you do that anymore. You have to send it through us. Right? You write a check to somebody, it goes to their bank. Their bank must send it to the Federal Reserve. Then the Federal Reserve validates it or whatever, then sends it to your bank for payment. Right? Your bank does not send the money to that bank. What do? They send the money, your bank sends the money back to the Federal Reserve, then the Federal Reserve pays them. Oh yeah, the Federal Reserve, United States does not trust these banks. Y'all got that? And the reason why you get in so much trouble when you bounce a check is because it interferes over here. Not because of these banks. Here. That's right. That's why it's this is why. Y'all see that? Anybody have any question about that? Okay, I wrote them all in blue. Well, I should have written you in red. Yes. Okay, everybody clear about currency? Now, what is money? What is money? Anybody know? Got a guess? Huh?
It's a medium of exchange.
It's a medium of exchange. Anytime it's a medium of trade. It's whatever the two parties agree that they're going to trade with, that constitutes money. If it's corn versus wheat versus barley versus shoes versus clothes, whatever the two are trading, that becomes the money. Okay? Money and currency are two different things. Money and currency are two different things. Now, currency can be used as money. Currency can be used as money. All right? Right. But money cannot be used as currency. Y'all got that? Now, money is a lawful medium of, it is lawful. Let's go back to these things right here. Everything on this list, are they lawful? All these things here, are they lawful? No. They are legal. They are legal. Yet, all of them depend on something that's lawful for their mere existence. That there's some currency somewhere. That there's a promise of an exchange of currency somewhere. Okay? Now, what is happening is people stay stuck right here. Minus all that. They get stuck right there. And they think that this is money. So they never go beyond this to get to dealing in currency. And one of the reasons is because the information has been lost, absent for so long in them that they've forgotten that they trade in currency. Okay? They think they trade here. And debt notes, certificates, bonds, and stocks. Okay? And all these instruments. Even a form of instrument is a deed. It is an instrument because you can use the deed as collateral to get Federal Reserve notes. You can do that. You can use a deed as collateral to get a Federal Reserve note, which gives you the opportunity to take the Federal Reserve note to the Federal Reserve Bank to get some lawful currency. But you don't do that, do you? So they're giving you an opportunity to come to the law. They know that this opportunity exists, but so far they see you don't know how to exercise that. You do not have to be a Moor to do this. Okay? Now, since money is lawful and it is a medium of exchange, who can trade in money? Who can use money to trade? Anyone. Anyone can use money to trade. Right now, and here's what happened. As the people began to fall out of their sovereign status, they could no longer use currency. They could only use money because currency is reserved for sovereigns, sovereign-minded people. And this is why this situation came about. As the people became so ignorant of the whole concept of currency they began to trade in Federal Reserve notes and using them, and well, at first United States notes, and using them as money. Okay, fine. But at some point in time, you're supposed to know that you can exchange the money and go get currency. Gradually, people came out of their sovereign status, less and less currency was in circulation. So it began to dwindle down on both sides. Less currency in circulation and less understanding of sovereignty. Less sovereignty, less currency. Less sovereignty, less currency. So right now, right? There's almost no currency in circulation. They even took the silver dollars. Even the silver dollars back in the 60s were relatively popular. You don't even see them anymore. Just thinking they tried to put it, the United States was trying to put it back in when they came out with the Susan B. Anthony dollar. But the science of the shape of the dollar and using Susan B. Anthony, was not a sovereign by any stretch of the imagination, she's not a Moor, didn't go together. So the whole thing failed. Now they've learned their lesson. Now what are they doing? Sacagawea. She's on a gold-colored dollar coin. You haven't seen one yet. They're going to be coming out. They're already out. Huh? Oh yeah, but they sell them like that, but they're not just, you're not trading with them and stuff like in the stores and stuff. Not yet. But it's coming.
You said gold colored. Is it gold?
Now they are silver, but they're gold. I wouldn't venture to say they're plated with gold. No, they're gold colored, and they say that they're gold colored. I have never seen them advertised that as gold plated. Have you?
No.
No, gold colored, okay? But even though it has silver, it has a measure of currency in it. So they're closer now with Sacagawea, but they're calling her an Indian. Okay, they're advertising that she's an Indian. Now, with the fact that they have the currency out there, what is happening to the people? They're becoming more aware. They're becoming conscious. They're waking up. Now what's happening is this. Treaty of Manhattan expires. On their calendar, that's the date. Of course, it would be 21st of March. Right? Now, they know this, and systematically, as the treaties expire and more of us become conscious, there's not going to be any re-signing of treaties. There's a problem. So what if you have no re-signing of treaties, this one in particular, and the people are ignorant? So they have to, chaos. So they're trying to cut the chaos to a minimum. So they're trying to put this consciousness back into circulation before the expiration of this treaty. That's what they're trying to do. Unfortunately, the people are their consciousness is so dead that they're not even they're having a hard time even accepting this thing. Okay? They're having a hard time even accepting the Sacagawea coin. All right? The effects of the loss of currency. When you lose currency, one of the first things you lose is memory. In the trade currency class, you're going to learn how that affects people as they age. It's causing them to have loss of memory is currency loss. Lose their currency level, you will enhance the memory. Okay? But that's trade currency class. I'm not going to get into all that detail tonight. What other things can you imagine that you lose when you lose your currency? Well, of course, let's put that, I wasn't going to say that, but that's in your memory, you lose your history. Ancestry. Is that word I wrote? Do you need the status? Yes, ancestry. Well, actually, they go hand in hand. You lose them both at the same time. Status and currency. What else do you lose? They go together.
Hmm?
What
In
energy?
terms of just exchanging, if you have a current, we're all electrical beings, and you're constantly touching something and providing you with another level of energy, there's an exchange of energy that reinforces it just in that contact.
That's right.
Exchange.
That's
that
right.
Would be, energy. That would be, another kind of energy.
Well, power, energy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. You can say that's synonymous. When we say power, what are we talking about? Control. Control of what? What have we lost control of?
Ourselves.
Huh? For ourselves, we lost total control of our land. And that's where I'm going because I'm getting to that. Well, actually, number 5. When we lost this, I'm going to draw a circle. We lost everything. The Alpha and the Omega. Now, what else have we lost when we lost currency? Loss of health. Don't you lose your health? Memory, when we say memory, we're talking about your consciousness too. You lost that.
We also like to lose your power, lose your privileges, that goes with the power.
Privileges?
Status.
Status? Right. Wow. Y'all see that? Everybody see that?
Yeah.
We got to go get our currency back, don't we? Somebody's what?
When you're exchanging and touching currency, did you draw out the higher quality currency in that contact since Albion also touches as well as vibrating or lower level?
Say again. If you have different people of different vibratory rates touching the same coin, do you absorb that too?
Would you absorb that, or would your vibratory rate resonate with the vibratory rate of others?
It's the highest. Six the highest. Six the highest.
Okay, so
Y'all hear that? Hear that? That's a good question.
The highest goes in the high.
Right.
The lowest.
Yes. He's saying that if you have different people of different vibratory rates touching the same coin, what happens when you touch the coin and you have a high vibratory rate? Do you absorb the lower one? No. It comes with you. However, the higher level stuff filters it out. Yes, it rules. That's the proper word. Got that? Wall. 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 Huh?
I said he said street.
I didn't say street yet. I said wall.
Yes. Very serious.
Huh?
structures.
You got that? Wall.
Block it.
Street. You have your law dictionary. Look up street for me. It's like, this right here is like saying bar association. Bar. That's right, like this. Bar association.
That's street name.
See that? Barring you from something. It's a wall. Right? Keep you out of something. What does it say about street?
It just has street name.
That's the 6th edition?
Yeah. And it's
I should run that. Well, when you say street, automatically you're implying corporation. That's why when I filed my documents for my house, I renamed my road. It was called 55th Street. so funny because when people ask me, where do you live? I say, I live on 55th Road. There's no 55th Road in Philadelphia. There is now. And I'm going to get a sign and put outside my house, 55th, or whatever, road. Road is ancient. That's ours. Streets are corporate. And actually, I went downtown and got it redesignated. Oh, yes, I did. Actually, I don't live in Moor. Huh? Every now and then, I get mail to occupant. Actually, it's Master Road. Okay. Now, I'm going to systematically change the maps in Philadelphia. Oh yeah, we're getting rid of these streets, avenues, boulevards. We're getting rid of all of them because all of them are corporate, and we're going back. Drives, parkways.
You know, some parts of the city have Briar Road, there's still no road, Beverly Road.
Yes.
Because a friend of mine now, she's at a system, she said, oh, she lives at Briar Road. Where is that at? And
Right.
It's still in the city.
It's in Westmount area, isn't
Right,
it?
it's over here. Yeah, what I'm saying, but the next one is a street. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and almost all of those roads are in Westmount area
Yeah.
and Chestnut Hill area.
Yeah.
You know why?
Oh, yeah.
Where the Moors had their last stronghold.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Wall Street is there to keep you out of something. So I asked the question, what are they hiding? What are they hiding? What are they hiding from you? Huh? They don't have any money. Now, remember I told you, in March 6, 1933, the United States stepped in and seized all the money from all the banks. These banks do not trade in currency, meaning they took all the currency, right? They took it all from them. You said they're bankrupt? Yes, every state in the Union is bankrupt. Every state in the Union is bankrupt because they stepped in and seized all the money. That's why they have to apply for federal dollars to get things done. Because they are bankrupt. All of this, no state in the Union has this right here. They can't, we were going to come back to that. In the Constitution, you still have it? The article in the Constitution about Article 1, Section 8. No state in the Union has any currency. United States of America, do they have currency? No. No. In the Constitution is Article 1, Section what? 8. And it says,
Congress shall have power to lay on taxes, duties, imports, and excise, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States with all duties. Imposts and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States and regulate commerce with foreign nations and among several states on which Indian tribes. The fifth one is to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures.
right, but that's not the one I was thinking of. The one I was thinking of where it says, no state shall coin money. That's not an article, that can't be in Article 1. It has to be further back. Maybe Article 4 or 5 or something like that. Look at Article 6. Seems like that rings a bell. Wall Street. What are they hiding? There's some tricky little devils. What are they hiding? What are they doing? What do they do up there? Trade. They trade?
Where the currency is,
What are the tools of trade? Paper. They trade in paper. They don't have any currency. They don't have any currency. And they also trade in money. Why? Money is a medium of exchange. Whatever the two parties agree is money. So that at any point in time, they can go to a sovereign somewhere and trade in the debt note for currency. They trade all around the world. And everywhere in the world, they trade in paper. Why? Wall Street is based upon the existence of corporate nation states. Nation states do not trade in currency. They trade in paper. The yen versus the dollar bill. The yen bill versus the dollar bill. Right? The lira bill versus the peso bill. See? It's not, see, check this out.
Would you just repeat this for me? What did you say? Which part? The Wall Street is a corporation of nation states?
Conglomerate of corporations.
Based upon the existence
Based-
of nation states.
Got that? Here we go. Watch this. Read it out for us, please.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marquee and appraisal, or coin money, remit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin, a tender and payment of debt, passing bill of attainment, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contract, or grant any title of nobility.
Oh, they can't grant title of nobility either.
Under Article 1, Section 9, subsection 10.
Section 9.
Section 10, subsection 1. It's Article 1, Section 10,
10.
subsection 1.
Subsection 1. Subsection 1. It's Article 1. Section 10, subsection 1. You said what you said? Huh? 12. Hey, that's it. All right. Y'all got that? They cannot coin money. Article 1, Section 10, subsection 1. Okay. Let's see here. Here we go. Watch this. The hand is quicker than the eye. Did I spell that right? I just want to do it. D-E. No, it's not E. D-U-E. Is it D-E-U? I know it's a U in there. Come on, y'all. D-E. D-E-U.
It's called a Maur. It's called a Maur. Maur. It's called a Maur.
It's one word? M-A-R-K.
Swiss franc.
What else?
That's a C.
No.
See? That's right. Okay. What's the problem with them?
Yeah.
Oh, pound?
They're all hard to pronounce.
Right, Sterling? No, right.
No, they just got rid of the pound coin.
What do all of these have in common? Paper. The lira bill, peso bill, the yen bill, the dollar bill, this bill, franc bill, pound bill. Bill of what? Huh? the law dictionary.
Is it note?
A bill is a note, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are all debt notes. Corporate nation states trade this way, and Wall Street trades amongst corporate nation states. That's fair. What do we have over here? Huh? Like the different countries in the world, whatever country it is, how do they trade? Gold, silver, copper,
Gems?
nickel.
And how about oil?
Now they're
Gems?
How about oil? It's not,
Palladium.
not platinum.
I don't care what country in the world. Countries do not trade in bills. Sovereigns do not trade in paper. They do not. Outside of that, they may trade in other precious metals other than these. What else? Only one other thing.
Precious stones.
Well, oil is exchanged for this, for these.
What about things like wheat, rice?
Food. Or you could say agricultural products. Everybody understand this? See where we are? See where they are? So, Wall Street deals on this side right here. Now,
And what side?
this side, the corporate nation state side. Who asked that question? This side right here. They can't trade over here. When you hear anything about Wall Street exchanging this right here, the only thing they're doing is keeping track. They're tracking and giving you the measurement of that, but they're not trading them. Because they don't own these things. Sovereigns trade at that level right there. Now you can go out and you can buy these things right here, and you can exchange them to get products and services. Nothing is stopping you from doing that. But countries don't trade in this right here. This is all paper. It means nothing to them. This is the substance over here. And all of this comes from the earth. So when we talk about Wall Street, yes.
But you said the United States of America does not have currency. It doesn't have that. Now, but the federal, or someplace in the United States, I think, has what? Someplace where they keep gold.
Does it belong to the United States of America?
Okay, I understand that concept.
No.
Okay, and that is the reason, and they understand that, and that's the
They
reason why
who?
they don't. Miss Crooks,
Corporate nation states understand that they don't trade in currency?
they don't trade it because it doesn't belong to them, and that's, they did it at the
Because-
time.
No, they didn't.
Well,
They stole the money from the people. They stole the money, they stole the currency from the people. But the minute they try to trade in it, a sovereign somewhere seizes it and forces them to trade in debt notes. Forces that. They maintain that always. So when you watch the
So
thing
they, oh, I see.
on Wall Street where they're talking about the trading and all that like that, they're trading paper. Don't get caught up in that game with their paper game. You know, that's like being conned by somebody on the street with paper. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up in their paper game. Jump over here and deal with these things that have substance and longevity. These, they play games on this side of the thing. And this is why it's called Wall Street. It has even a double meaning. Number one, there's a wall between them and them. They don't want you to think that's there, but there's a wall there that they can't cross over into there. And then the other wall is between them and the masses of the people over here, where they are trading over here and keeping the masses of the people trading in paper.
That's what I was gonna ask you. You notice like around the new year is coming in, they always say they wait to hear what Greenspan has to say as to what stocks are gonna go up this year, which ones not to,
Well,
buy
who
into.
is Alan Greenspan? Chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank.
Okay.
Why do all the Wall Street and the companies and the corporations, why are they so anxious to hear what this man has to say? Why?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Huh? He's the executive director of the Federal Reserve Bank. Why are they so interested in knowing what he has to say? All of these banks. Wait a minute. Where's our triangle? Why are they so interested in what he has to say? All of these little mom and pop banks, did y'all know that all banks are franchises? They're just like a McDonald's franchise. And so when you go to like the headquarters, they franchise and people buy into the franchise just like you buy to be an owner, of the McDonald's or whatever like that. Banks franchise the same way. All right. Here's what's happening. Whoa, what? Let me see. Alan Greenspan, let's say this right here for a minute. Alan Greenspan is the executive director. What does that tell you when I say executive director?
Corporation.
What kind of corporation has an executive director? A private nonprofit corporation. So Alan Greenspan is the executive director of the private nonprofit corporation that calls itself the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, the Federal Reserve Bank is the only one in this country that can exchange debt notes for lawful money, for currency. It's the only one. That's why it's so important for them to hear. Because when we go to our triangle right here, they're only trading in debt notes, in bills, right? Bills of credit. That's what they're trading in. Now, because they're chartered to trade in paper, they have to get permission from the federal government to do that. Now, they don't have any currency of their own, right? So, in order to even use the Federal Reserve's debt notes, because they're not allowed to print their own debt notes anymore, they have to pay the Federal Reserve a fee. They have to pay the Federal Reserve a fee in exchange for being allowed to use the Federal Reserve notes. Y'all didn't know that. Y'all don't know that the banks are buying the debt notes? They're trading in paper. They're buying these debt notes from the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is letting them use them.
So when I came in, I'm sorry, I came in, you were saying this and I didn't get it. What is it that you said you can go to the Federal Reserve Bank and present for currency? Is
Federal Reserve notes.
I'm sorry.
Anybody else miss that? You missed that too.
And all bills are not Federal Reserve notes.
We have all kinds of bills.
Is it what I heard recently is that you can't walk into it now, you can only do it by
Mail.
phone, mail, or internet.
That's
Is
right.
that correct?
That's the only way, yeah.
A lot of banks say they are protected by the FIC.
FDIC. Oh my goodness.
Now they're in the business.
Let me finish this. Come on, you're trying to finish this. Okay. The local banks pay a fee to the Federal Reserve to use their debt notes to loan to you, and they charge you an interest rate. The Federal Reserve charges them an interest rate, which is called what? Huh? Prime rate. Now, I know y'all heard this term. And then they charge you a few percentage points above that. That's how they make their money. But they are only borrowing because they don't have debt notes of their own. Unless they sell stock, or bonds.
Which they do.
Even if they do that, they still have to get permission from the Federal Reserve. The office, y'all need to know this one. Y'all didn't know y'all elected this one too. It's called the Office of the Comptroller of Currency. And all banks report to them. Office of the Comptroller of Currency. And I think every 3 years, maybe every 2 years, I think, the banks have to make application to this office right here and to get a rating. They get a rating, which is called their CRA. It's called the Community Reinvestment Act. Why do they need to do that? The banks were redlining so bad. They were not loaning money to people who lived in the inner city, in the urban areas. They were redlining. They refused to loan money. So the federal government had to step in and establish the Community Reinvestment Act, in which all the banks get their CRA rating as to how well they've done in order to continue to get their charter. If they do not get a good CRA rating, the Fed will dismantle the bank and fine them first, and gradually. You have a question?
Yes. I thought the Fed rate was the rate that the bank, that's the rate that the banks borrow the money, and the prime rate is the rate that the bank set for the customer. That's not correct?
What did you call it?
The Fed rate is the rate that the banks borrow the money from the Fed, and the
No,
banks then set
but that's
a prime
federally chartered banks. But they don't loan money to state chartered banks at the same rate that they loan to federally chartered
Right.
banks.
Right, that's correct. But the Fed rate is the rate that the Fed chartered banks borrow the money from the Fed,
Mm-hmm.
and in turn they set a prime rate, which then impacts on what we slaves borrow money.
That you borrow money.
Yes.
So you're saying that the prime is what the bank
Set.
set
That's the arbitrary.
for their,
In terms of their borrowing.
but nobody loans money at prime.
That's correct.
Prime is the interest rate they use when they're trading amongst each other,
That's correct.
not with us or anybody else. They don't.
Well, some institutional lenders can get prime.
Yes,
Borrowers can get prime.
depending on their. Their status.
Like General Motors or somebody would go.
Well, that's because, say, General Motors has, I wouldn't say they have a bank, but they have some entity that's set up that is what we call a depository institution that allows them to do that. They might be self-insured, for example, or something that allows them to be a depository institution and get that rate.
Because they deal in large blocks.
Yes,
They also,
they're trading in large blocks of
right,
money.
right. They also are involved in another market, a secondary market for the trading of instruments.
That's exactly right.
That's commercial paper.
And that's like would be your Ford Motor Credit and those companies like that.
Where they find some.
Pricing Credit,
Right.
companies like that, right.
Okay.
So you had a question, somebody here?
How about precious stones? Trading,
Well, we said precious
That's
metals,
currency. That's
Oh.
currency.
right? On this right
right,
here,
I've seen it, yeah.
Currency system.
we say metals or stones, could be precious metal or non-metal.
Okay, all right.
Now, is that all this,
Office of Comptroller of Currency,
is that, should that be in blue or is that?
I didn't write it in blue, it's not a mistake. Oh, no, I didn't make a mistake. No, it's only United States, Office of the Comptroller of Currency. Y'all familiar with them?
You only have one?
One. You only have one treasurer, you only have one secretary, you only have one president, you only have one vice president. You only have one comptroller, you only have one solicitor. Now,
In every business.
y'all haven't had, who has had the who's who class? Okay, not even half, but for those of you who've had the who's who class, you know there's the United States, and I gave you the list of who's there, and the United States of America, and I gave you a list of who's there. Okay? let's talk about that for a minute, because here on the one side, wait a minute. On the one side, you have, because most people think that the United States is a nation. It's not. It's a country. The United States of America is a nation. Now, on this one side, you have your, what's Janet Reno? She's the Attorney General. She's the attorney for the United States of America. She's the attorney for them. Who represents you?
Solicitor General.
Solicitor General. You elected him too. Got that? Office of the Comptroller. Now, what does the Office of the Comptroller of Currency have to do with Wall Street? This question is not for those people who never heard of the Office of the Comptroller. It's for y'all who know who the Comptroller is, what his job is. What is the Comptroller's job?
To manage the money.
He manages the money.
Yeah, he manages the money.
Huh? Audits all the banks. That's true. That's right. What do they have to do with Wall Street? Huh?
Keep an eye on it.
Wall Street operates according to what rules? What entity monitors Wall Street? And all those
The
entities.
Security and Exchange Commission.
Thank you.
I wish I could get my money back.
For all of those who can who's who, this is a commission. What does that tell you? Yes, and what else? They're appointed. They're appointed. Securities, the SEC. That's what they always tell you. SEC rules. Governs Wall Street, right? The Securities and Exchange Commission falls under what department in the United States of America?
Treasury? I'm guessing Treasury?
Treasury? They fall under the Treasury Department. Who's the Secretary of the Treasury right now? Right now. He reports to who?
The Secretary of,
He doesn't report to her.
Office of the Comptroller?
He reports to the Comptroller.
Okay.
For the disbursement of money. You all got that? Do you see the relationship that Wall Street has with our currency? So Wall Street is not, Wall Street is not operating according to our wishes. And Wall Street is not operating in our best interests. Who do we tell? Who do we tell? The Comptroller. You can't write a letter to the President because the President didn't appoint the Comptroller. Who is the Comptroller answerable to? The people. The Comptroller is not answerable to the President. Madeleine Albright is not answerable to the President. Mary Ellen Withrow is not answerable to the President. They're answerable to the people. Is the sheriff answerable to the President? No. Who is the sheriff answerable to? Now, this is why You write a letter to the president, and you might not get a response, but if you get a response, they are going to tell you some nice thing, you know, give you the old soft shoe brush off, but they'll never tell you the truth that it's not in his jurisdiction to be able to assist you with such a problem. You understand what I'm saying? The problem that Wall Street is not operating in your best interest. They're trading in paper and trading in all kinds of products and things that come from your land. And what do you get for it? A job? Did you say a job? Now you understand? They're doing all this trading over here and all this paper. And all this paper. But the one thing that this paper is a promissory note for something over here. Right? They produce a car. Somebody produces a car, right? And that car is traded using this paper right here. But that car is a real product. It's steel. It's plastic. It's glass. Product of the land. Right? And they're trading using that. They took all these valuable materials over here to trade and do all these things, right? And they also reserve, when they're dealing with the sovereign, they also reserve the right to come over here and get bits and pieces from the sovereign there. Not a lot, to the point where they're going to be trading in that, okay? But did they pay you? Did General Motors pay you for mining iron ore in your land?
No.
I don't think so.
They charged me too much for my car.
Right? Then they turn around and charge you, right, for the product that they took from your land.
That's right. And make you buy insurance.
Yes.
You get a
But
license.
now there was a document. There is a document that allows them to do it because the hand is quicker than the eye, and they got this document signed. The document that gives them permission. Let's take corporation, I'll just call them Corporation Inc. Any corporation, particularly the manufacturers who are out there doing the mining and actually taking the raw product from the earth, okay? They didn't pay you for that, did they?
No.
Hmm?
No.
All right.
But they couldn't do that in my status anyway. I mean,
That's true. In your state ward status, no, you don't have any.
Well, she could get
State ward.
she could get a Section 8 and all that, like you said before.
She can get a Section 8.
She can get that kind of shit, right? Yeah, food stamps. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
She can do that.
She can get that. Give me a little something.
She can do that. Does that in any way compensate her, really? Okay.
It's not commensurate.
Now, Corporations Inc. Corp Inc. is conducting all this trade from your land. They took all this product from your land and they're trading with it now and didn't give you a dime. Right? Now, they're doing it based on something. They didn't just arbitrarily start going out there and mining. Somebody gave them permission somewhere along the line. The first thing is the fact that they're incorporated tells you that they have a charter issued by somebody. Issued by who? No, the state. Whatever state they're chartered in, that they're incorporated in for their headquarters, is a state, or you can say a commonwealth, that gave them permission to trade in a certain area. Okay? Now, this state and commonwealth here, they got the power to do that from something.
From the Fed.
Huh? Who gave them it? Who gave them that power?
The government.
Okay, wait.
United States.
They're incorporated too.
United States Inc.
They too have a charter.
Right, USA Inc. USA Inc.
No.
Who gave the states their charter?
United States of America Inc.
No. Sovereign.
Treaties didn't get no.
Sovereign. Moors.
Huh? Okay, yes, the Moors.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Republic. USA, the Republic. I'm sorry.
The United States is
U.S.
not.
Republic. That's
Okay? That's right. You know it's a republic.
Yeah.
Now, gave them a charter. What's their charter called? Constitution. Now you with me? They have another relationship with some entity that's the United States of America. Let's leave them out for a minute. United States Republic, now they got their permission to exist from
Treaty.
treaty.
Right.
Okay? Now, when this Constitution was established for this state, this Constitution, remember in one class I was explaining to you that the United States Constitution does not define a geographical area over which it has jurisdiction? It's nowhere in the document. How do you know what it's talking about in terms of geographical area? Do you? The document doesn't speak to that. The state constitution does not speak to the geographical area over which it rules. It has jurisdiction, does it? No state constitution has that language in here. So there's another document that has given this state or this commonwealth permission to conduct trade over a specified specified area. What document is it? These people right here, let's bring on down here. They have a document that was given to them.
Magna Carta.
No. Giving them permission to operate over a specified geographical area. What is the document? What is the one? We talked about this before. What is the document?
A land grant? Yeah.
Land grant. Or a land patent. What is the document that was given by King Charles II to William Penn Jr. for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated? It was a land grant. It was a land grant. Remember, I told you to write to and call the archivist in Harrisburg and get a certified copy of it from the archivist for $5? We talked about this.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
Get that document because that document tells you the specific geographical area, right, that allows William Penn and his family and heirs and assigns to conduct trade over this area known, what they call the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated. And when he got the permission, his corporation was a sole proprietorship. It wasn't a corporation, it was a sole proprietorship. Now, his family incorporated it, okay? So now that it is incorporated, the document still is in effect. No matter, you know they talk about in history, you look at any encyclopedia and it'll say that William Penn signed a treaty with the Indians. Y'all know they say that. It's not the treaty, it's not. It's this. This is what was signed over to William Penn Jr. because his father was owed money. His father was a Moor. King Charles II was a Moor. King Charles II did not give him land. A land grant is permission to conduct business over a geographical area. He did not give the man the land. He could not. It was not possible. But this land grant is recorded. Just like you go down to the county and record. The land grant is recorded as what kind of document? A deed. The land grant is a deed. Y'all understand that? Because it's in blue. A deed gives him interest in land. It did not give him ownership. Could not. Did not then, does not now. Will not ever. Will not ever. Question.
with the advent of that first land grant, right?
Yes,
Did that allow other land grants to come about?
yes. Every state has one.
Okay. But I'm saying with the inception of that one, you know, did it allow other states, you know, to actually have, because he
It
was
didn't
given a land
allow,
grant.
but it gave them the idea.
Okay, right.
It was a concept.
Right.
It was a good one.
Right.
And it worked all too well.
So, okay, so how did the other states adopt land grants without getting permission?
They had permission. For example, King Charles II gave a land grant to his brother, Duke of York,
Okay.
which was all New Jersey and New York until Duke of York separated and created State of New Jersey Incorporated and created State of New York Incorporated from his one land grant.
Okay.
Anybody in here from New Jersey? Right? To Trenton and get a copy of that land grant given to Duke of York by King Charles II. That is the document that spells out the geographical area over which the State of New Jersey Incorporated can operate. This is where the jurisdiction comes in when we talk, because in some of the other classes, we're going back to courts. Because I have to explain this kind of stuff to you first in terms of the economics. Then we're going to take this information and translate it into how the courts sees jurisdiction. This is important. I say that every Friday, don't I? I sound like Brother Bashir.
Okay, so King Charles II was a Moor.
Yes.
He was also from England.
Yes. Where's England?
Right here.
King Charles II, is that his name?
No.
It's his title. He has an indigenous name.
How does one Moor
What?
own the land?
He didn't own the land. He gave them permission to conduct commerce
How does he even do that?
because the people elected him.
What was his Moorish name?
I don't know. I have it written somewhere, and it's this long.
This is England, you said?
This is England.
And the United Kingdom is what?
United Kingdom. United Kingdom is Britain. France, what's France? Normandy.
Are you saying this is a sovereign name?
You missed, what class? What class did you talk about that? Geography and world history.
So I need that map.
You need the class.
Map ain't gonna do you no good if it's
You need the class. Tony, do you happen to have that map with you? He has an old map that shows what we're talking about. You can look into any world atlas and find it. Oh yeah, and who you listen to. Right, that's true. She needs the class, geography class, in order to understand what the analysis is. Is everybody clear about this? So it's this document, yes.
Is William Penn his real name, and was Pennsylvania actually named after him? Yeah, all right.
Pennsylvania was not named after him or his father. Can I elaborate on that?
Please.
Yes.
Pennsylvania is an ancient and indigenous name. Okay?
Okay.
And they adopted their titles according to the name of the area, not the other way around. For example, Lord Baltimore, who they say founded the city of Baltimore. It was Baltimore, and he was Lord of Baltimore, and that's his title. That wasn't his name. Right?
Right.
And just like you have the different names of the counties, all around the world there's a name of a county. Why do we call them counties? Because there's a count that governed. It's a Moorish title. Count is a Moorish title. And wherever there was a count that governed, there was a county.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
That's a little bit into advanced geography right there.
That's good stuff.
Oh, that's enough. Anyway, where are we? We're still talking about Wall Street, and I kind of skipped over into why is the land so important. Now, let's go back to Wall Street for a minute. What could they possibly be hiding? Huh? What are they hiding all the time on Wall Street? Why do you have all these quote-unquote black people saying, oh, you can't get a job in there. You can't even get a job as a trader. You have very few about...
As a trader?
Huh? Because they don't understand the science, but they hiding something. That they don't want... That even if you, as a black person, are working in there, and if you're around it enough, see, and just like, what was this one guy who was a trader? Busted up. He was flying high for a minute, wasn't he? What was his name? Jeffrey?
Yeah, something like that.
Jet.
And he was in it.
Jeffrey Jet.
They wouldn't let him back. Everybody else got busted for minor things.
He was
And
in it.
for bigger things than him, but they wouldn't let him back.
But he was black.
Yes.
And he was finding out what they were hiding.
Oh.
Either he got close or he got it, and he knows.
Right.
One of the two.
Because he was on the thing speaking over he wasn't hiding my money. Trying to smile as fast, and he said,
Not hiding your money, no.
when he came back, they had taken his computer and busted it up. Whatever he had, but I don't think he knew what he had because he said,
knows, but he might not know because he does class.
Right, because he said, they took my whole computer, and they said, the guy said, what did they do? He said, here it is. They destroyed it. And so he said, why did you do it? He said, I don't know. And I kept saying, what is it?
They said they weren't monitoring him.
Huh?
They said they weren't monitoring him, and they were.
All those people are monitored. Come on. Like the one Japanese guy who supposedly found the house of, what was the major trading house? Huh? Barclay House? When he destroyed it by falsifying numbers and stuff in the computer and everything, and they blamed everything on him. What did that young man find out? Y'all can't.
Where it is.
Say aloud to know where the currency is. But it seems so, and it's going to seem so simple to you when I write it on the board. Huh? Who it belongs to, I don't think he got that part figured out. Huh? Oh, all of them who trade up there, am I right, know it's a con game. They know it's paper. The hand is slicker, quicker than the eye. What are they hiding? Huh?
It's in red, so it has something to do with us.
Yes.
It's in red.
Okay, I'm giving it away. He found out the truth. He found out the truth.
From Africa.
Y'all can say.
Found out where the emperor was. Right.
Come on.
Oh, wait. He found out where the emperor was.
No, I don't want to write it. I want y'all to tell me.
He found out the truth, and he found out in what country the emperor is located. Is pulling all the strings
He
or something?
probably got that too.
Okay, but
Come on.
yeah.
Go ahead, sis. You're on the right track. Go ahead.
She's on the right. I want y'all to get. I want you to guess it.
Oh, God.
You tired?
No, but what
You want to guess it?
Yeah, okay. If they know where the emperor is,
There you go.
What'd you say, Allison?
Who it belongs to.
who it belongs to?
What's the it? But what's the it?
What does
The money. Who the land?
Land.
I tried not to say it.
Who the land belongs to. The land belongs to the Moors. If he was up there trading at that level, and he had to get to a point where they're talking about how they're getting the products, how they're getting all these things that they're trading.
Okay.
See, it's fine if they keep them on this side trading paper.
Okay.
But when they get up to a certain level, they start dealing more in the sovereigns because of the volume.
Okay.
He started finding out about this side over here and that the land belonged to the Moors. That they had to go to somebody. They were taking all this stuff from somebody who they were not paying. But I think he got close and they realized that by virtue of what he was doing, he was bound to find out. But they didn't understand. He was black. He would never
Never
go.
found out.
But shut him down before they couldn't take the chance.
So if he was,
Well, now that's another story. Says before I got to him.
so
They're about to hear from me.
So if he was conscious, he could have just shut everything down then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it wasn't, yes.
And he, if he was sovereign.
What do you think happened when Drew, when they, you know in 19, what year did Drew Ali die? 28? 28, 29, I want to say 28. 29? I had a death certificate, I forgot what's on it. It's 29? What happened when he, right before he died, before he was assassinated, what had he done?
He set up a trust.
He was enlightening the Moors, yes. Even a lot of the things that Jure Ali talked about were encrypted. He'd say things and most of the time people didn't even know what he was talking about. He incorporated the Moor Science Temple of America, Inc. That he did that. Now, and they gave him money to do it. As hush money. Maybe it wasn't enough, or maybe he changed his mind, or whatever. They killed him for it. But what did he do? Because he did something that caused Wall Street to crash. And y'all know that big crash.
He set up the trust. He set up the trust.
What a bank holiday. Huh?
The Pan American Conference, 1926,
Okay, yes.
where you received the charter for the land of the continental U.S. or not the continental U.S.
No.
He set up the trust.
No. No.
It wasn't the trust.
Reclaimed our flag.
He reclaimed the flag. He did something else. He didn't quite have it right. But he was close. But he took the hush money, and that was a mistake. You don't take the hush money and then threaten to tell. You may as well just go on and tell.
Could you go in the same way?
They already know. So he goes up there and they can have a certain level of conversation because they both know this secret right here. That the land belongs to the Moors. Okay? And in fact that the Moors are not the minority in number. We are the majority in number in this country. In this hemisphere. We are the majority in numbers. We always have been. We have not been exercising our power and authority. Jure Ali said something to cause that crash. And he did something to cause that crash. What could it have been? And they were hiding then.
He set up the trust.
Oh, he called the note. He was going to take back the land. Here, where did somebody issued somebody a deed. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Somebody gave somebody a deed. That particular deed for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Inc. Huh?
Well, I was saying about the person who
Let's get beyond that. That's why I said somebody. You can take any state. The same thing applies. Somebody issued somebody a deed. Let's talk about Pennsylvania because you may be more familiar. King Charles II issued a land grant to William Penn Jr. for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to conduct his trade and business over a certain geographical area. Okay? A deed is a contract. It comes with terms and conditions. What if the terms and conditions are not met? Who do you tell? Of currency. I think he threatened to tell. Thank you. Oh, that's so pretty. He threatened to tell. And so they killed him after he took the hush money. Now, I could be wrong. It's just a theory. I doubt it. The Office of the Comptroller says to Wall Street and the banks, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because if these people take back their land and terminate that contract, Wall Street will collapse. Wall no more, because the land grant that gives them permission to conduct the business in that land, this is the revoking of the charter. This is the revoking of their permission to conduct that very business that they're trading in all this paper. Y'all sitting kind of quiet. I don't think y'all understand the magnitude of what I just said. Is it sinking in? Huh?
Let's do something.
That's a jump. What are you saying?
Huh?
So we can revoke, take back what is rightfully ours.
Did you authorize, did your ancestors authorize King Charles II to, well, say if you did.
Yeah. Right. We have the right to.
And say let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it was in fact a lawful contract.
Still be revoked, that's terminated.
Huh?
It's gonna lawfully be terminated.
But the contract has terms and conditions. They were supposed to pay.
Tribute, right?
They didn't pay. They owe. So what about all those fancy numbers that General Motors said they made all that money last year? What about IBM that said they had all these mega profits last year? What about Microsoft that said they have all these mega profits every year?
They're supposed to own.
Pay tithes to the sovereign.
Just wait until you get the document. Go get the document. Don't come to class next Friday. I'm not going to let you in. Just joking. You need to have it. You need to have it. You need to know what that thing says. This is the very thing that this deed that gave these people permission to be here. You authorized its existence. The terms and conditions have not been met.
How do you get that document?
Huh?
Yeah.
Call the archives in Harrisburg. Right. You have to go to the respective state. Yeah. You can't get it anywhere else. It's only $5. $5 bills. Yeah, federal is a $5. Anybody in here trade on Wall Street? Anybody in here work for any of the Security and Exchange Commission? Anybody like that? Oh, I was going to say you need to start looking for
Because they ain't gonna have one. I want my money back. So who gonna be working?
Shut down and
What are they doing for you? What is Wall Street doing for you? Huh? Another thing? You said shut them down? Land. Why is land important to economics? Maybe we could even skip this one. I think y'all have a full grasp. I'm going to tell you a few things, but right now I feel that you have a full grasp of the situation. The land. When you own the land, you own air, surface, subsurface, water, everything. What? You say minerals, oil, of course, earth. Guess what else? When you say air, you're talking about the airwaves.
Go ahead.
And airspace.
Huh?
And airspace. Space, because if the airplane is flying over your space.
Well, that's air. You can say space.
Yeah, air and space.
Because when you own land, it's taken from this perspective like this. And say you're in here on Earth. And from that spot that you own all the way out. So they can't go anywhere where you don't own it. What gives you this right to land?
The birth.
Birthright from my mother.
That's right. Your birthright. Your ancestry. Your heritage. Huh?
heritage.
Heritage? Y'all got that? What does this mean?
We got a big debt to collect.
We got a big debt to collect, you're right. We want to collect it too. This means that anybody who does not have this cannot have that. If you don't have this, you can't have that. You can get a deed and have interest in it and conduct business, but you can't own it. No way, no how. You cannot even buy it or pretend to own it. You have a question?
Yeah, I know someone that's in construction, and they were talking about out in Montgomery County, I think King of Prussia, how there was a lawsuit some years ago with a family that either inherited the land from someone, I don't know whether they were white or whatever.
They were black.
Huh?
They were black.
Okay, right. So the county, for them to do business in King of Prussia, right to this day, they have to actually pay
The family.
this family, yeah, money. So what did they go? Back to their sovereign rights, the family, or, okay, that's all I want to know.
The family doesn't understand what we just talked about. I guarantee you that.
Okay,
Otherwise, and I'll bet you whatever amount of money they're getting is minuscule. And I'll bet you they pay taxes on what they get. I'll bet you they have to obey all the traffic, right? And all the statutory obligations under the corporate nation state, which takes away from them their allodial rights. When you have allodial rights to the land, here's the economics of this. No liens can ever be placed against your land for any reason. Nobody, not even another sovereign, can place a lien against your land when you own it allodially. What does that mean to your economics? Security, doesn't it? Forever, doesn't it?
No debt.
No debts. Because you know one thing for sure, you'll never be put out of your home. That your children, not just security, she said security, that's an excellent word. Not just for yourself, for all your generations.
Posterity.
So our ancestors, like when you hear the stories about the Indians sold New York for a string of beads and this and that, they sold the rights to conduct business. They did not sell the land, never, right? Well, the Indians, of course, if they call themselves Indians, didn't own any land. Y'all know that. Okay, we can move on to the next one. Huh?
They didn't even have a belief that you could sell land.
Land, that's right.
To the Almighty. They didn't have a belief that you could sell it.
Right, you can. It's handed down generation through generation.
Right.
Yes.
Is a noble title and a allodial title one and the same?
You told him that, didn't you? I know you did. I know you did.
A noble title and a allodial title one and the same. I told you setting me up.
Hey, don't try it. Yes. Your allodial title. This is why. Go find me since she said, you want to tell them?
So you doing well.
Okay, you just want to let out all the secrets. Here we go.
I'm not going to say it no more.
For all you people who are wards of the state, this does not apply to you. Okay. Since you do not have allodial rights to the land. That's the problem. So this does not apply to you unless you have a noble title. So allodial rights and your noble title. Your noble, what's your noble title? Your noble titles. Al, El, Dey, Jay, Ali are your noble titles to If you do not have, and what is that? Article 1, Section 10, subsection 1, states, meaning the United States too, cannot confirm, cannot issue or grant titles of nobility.
Okay.
Again?
You want to read it to them? Who has the logic?
In the Constitution.
That's in the Constitution.
Safety valve.
A safety net. Our ancestors were very smart. They protected us. Y'all have to say your prayers and thank you. They did a tremendous job. A tremendous job, I think, in every day, especially today. I won a major battle today along these lines.
You want to share?
No. If you have a noble title, you do not buy property.
Okay, so it all belongs to you.
That's right. It has always belonged.
Always belongs to me, and it all belongs.
All you need to do is claim it.
Well, how much do I want to claim?
Beginner class.
Look, I think like this. There's enough to go around without any of us stepping on one another's toes. Read it again, please. No state. Who? What?
The science will stop. No state shall enter
In logic, you have to be reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, that's why.
Noble, exactly. Okay, let's hear what she has to say.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or appraisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver, coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility.
Y'all got that? They cannot grant any titles of nobility.
Section 1.
Section 1, it's Article 1, Section 10, subsection 1.
Y'all never forget that.
No.
So, if you're a ward of the state, let's see, where do you fit in?
Oh, don't buck our dog.
Deed, huh? You have a deed. If you're a ward of the state, you have a deed, don't you? You don't want a deed. If you own land through an allodial title, your noble title, thank you, Fahmy, you do not have to pay any fines, fees, taxes, anything for your land. In fact, if a utility company crosses wires over your land, what? If the municipality runs water pipes through your land, you have to pay. If the cable company runs wires over your land, you have to pay. Now, if the land that the slave owns is next to the land that you own, got to pay. They got to pay for the, It's not free. Free implies that you're getting something for nothing. Exactly. It's not free.
That's right, it's inherent.
It's inherent. I take it that you understand.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Why is land important to economics? It's crystal clear, right? When we talk economics, we talk other related systems. Huh? Isn't that where we are?
Yeah.
We have two sides. Free. Slave.
Go there, right? Go there. That's okay.
When you're a slave, what kind of economics apply to you? Definitely. I was gonna write that like that. Definitely you got debts. I was gonna say first, taxes. Yeah? As a slave, you must pay interest. Huh? Well, yeah, all kinds of fees. Service fees. Yes, late fees, tolls. Postage, all these are fees. These are all part of your economic system as a slave. You have to even pay a fee to get the state to certify something that you claim belongs to you. You have to pay a fee to get a birth certificate recorded. A death certificate, you got to pay fees.
Fee for a contract.
Yes? She said every time you want another copy, you have to pay more fees. Okay?
Death.
Huh?
Slaves pay for death.
You pay for everything. Mm-hmm. These are all part of your economic system as a slave. Right? When you're free, what becomes part of your economic system that you must pay? Pay attention. Nobody, I'm going to write that. I'm going to write that. You must pay attention. What are the things that are in your economic system that you must pay for when you are?
Nothing.
None. You pay for none of these. None of these. None of this. The word I like to use is cost exempt. After all, if you owe me, how is it that I have to pay a cost, right? To use something that you derived from my land. We've talked about this before. You didn't? Who said that?
No. Yeah, you talk about it.
Before I showed up.
Over here, there's a tithe. What system is that related to? Well, what's their religion? Right? There's some other systems over here. Over here, what would, I don't know. I don't want to say what would be the equivalent because there is no equivalent. But over here, you don't have religion. Over here, you have science. What are some of the other systems? Because the church system is one of the most powerful ones.
Political system?
Court. Courts, Inc. You pay for this.
Yeah.
Over here, you have councils. You don't pay for that. What other systems over here are related?
Marriage?
Army. Military.
Military systems? Political. Armies, and all that falls under political systems.
It does.
Political systems, and it's under the political systems that you pay these things here. Okay? You said business? You said business? Other related systems? We talk about economics? You say business?
Yeah.
Well, let's change, yeah, let's say business. And the equivalent over here is commerce. And on the political side, we don't have the political structure and the political systems. They don't exist in that sense. But we do have, we have elections. How do you get to become an emperor? An emperor is elected. You have a system of votes and elections, but it's not a political structure where there are appointments and all. Everybody on the sovereign side, everybody is elected. Everybody is elected. Nobody is appointed. Appointments are under your political system. Okay? Your business and commerce. And these are the primary systems. All of these work together in terms of your creating all of the economics for slaves. They are the ones who control the economics of the slaves. Can you see that? Okay?
See it, feel it, the whole thing.
Now, economics and hierarchy. Here we go. We're going to go back to one of my favorite charts. Y'all seen this chart before. Y'all know this one, right?
Yes.
All these are corporate. See that blue. Everybody understand? We've had this a number of times. The economics affiliated with a municipality at the municipal level. Okay? You know, every time a middleman is involved, there's a higher price to pay. So, in fact, let's not start there. Let's start here. Let's say that the price of something that the corporate nation state pays is $1. The nation state is going to charge the state, if the state wants to have access or whatever, they're going to charge $1, $2, whatever it is. Let's say it's money. It's not currency. Then the counties want access. $3. I'm just using this as an example. By the time it gets down to the municipality, it's $4. So what happens with this? Every time it goes through a cycle, these get larger. The fees, the taxes, the interest, everything. Just like the difference between buying wholesale and retail versus the wholesaler buying it from the manufacturer, right? You can take any product, I don't care what it is, all right? It's going to go through this process right here. Now, when you cross this line, and this is where all of the trade and all of those bills and things like that is occurring here. Why does it have to occur here? And why doesn't it occur there?
Because countries deal in currency and the others do.
Currency. Paper. Paper. if the municipality that calls itself the City of Philadelphia Incorporated, let's look at the definition of a city. Where's our law dictionary? I should bring a law dictionary to every class. A city. Let's look up the definition of a city. Because remember, I also showed you on the chart that this can jump out here. Well, there's a difference.
What is?
County. County of Philadelphia Incorporated.
Philadelphia County.
Philadelphia County. Okay? Municipalities are all corporate, always. States are all corporate. Nation states are all corporate. You have city?
Yep, you're gonna love this.
Mm-hmm.
A municipal corporation.
Whoa!
Most states of the largest and highest class. Also the territory within the corporate limits.
Oh!
A political entity or subdivision for local governmental purposes, commonly headed by a mayor and governed by a city council.
Yes, read first part again.
A municipal corporation.
Hello. Y'all got that?
Yep.
Now, if this municipal corporation that calls itself the City of Philadelphia Incorporated wants to raise money for a particular cause, let's say it's street improvements. That's a joke.
Road
Huh?
improvement.
Is that Mayor Street or?
Huh?
Or
Yeah.
road improvement.
How about that?
Or road improvement.
What do they have to do?
Raise taxes.
Okay. What paper are they trading? We're talking about, yes, bonds.